The Swedish deal is in London for the PokerStars EPT. One of their pro players, a very well-known guy on Twitch. His name is Tonka usually, but his proper name is Parker Talbot. He has a great story. Here it is. Parker Tonka Talbot is in London to play the PokerStars EPT. How is it to be in Europe?
Yeah, it's good. I love Europe. I traveled to Europe lots over the years, lived here for a couple years back in the day. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah. I mean, for those, most people know you, but not everyone has found a way into where you're streaming and so on. What made you start streaming?
Streaming kind of just came around at a time in my life where I was kind of indifferent to poker overall. You know, I've been playing for maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe a little bit less than that. And I was just kind of bored, you know. I was playing sit and goes at the time and then moved away from sit and goes and then was playing some tournaments, so I was just kind of bored, and I just kind of stumbled into it, and then from there kind of reinvigorated my passion for poker, I'd say.
Was that always your style as a person to show and talk to people, communicating? Do you see yourself as a funny guy in a way, earlier years?
I mean, sure, I guess as a funny guy, yeah, but from streaming thing, I think if you asked all of my friends if I would become a streamer or this before I started, they would have all laughed in your face and said no way, because I didn't even use social media. You know, I had a Twitter account, but with 10 posts, and I hadn't posted on Facebook, which was still a thing back when I started streaming. I'm quite old now, yeah, I just didn't really use social media or anything like that, you know. So I'm an extroverted person, I think. I am good, not good around people, but I have energy around people and stuff. I don't mind meeting new people, you know. It doesn't put me in a box or anything like that. But I wouldn't have said necessarily that this would have always been a path for me to take.
Can you tell me about where you're located and how that worked out for you? I mean, a poker play can be anywhere in the world, more or less, or at least where you have online access and are able to play. So how's your situation looking right now?
Well, Ontario, where I'm from, the province in Canada, I'm from Toronto, which is in Ontario, and it just got segregated in Canada. So you can only play with, we can only play with other people from Ontario now, in Ontario, which is okay, of course. It's just a smaller player pool, not the, globalliquidity.com player pool. So in order to play on that, I have to travel outside of Toronto, outside of Ontario. So I've been bouncing around a little bit for the last few months, staying here, staying there. After EPT London, I'm going to go and crash with Spraggy for a little bit. I know you just chatted with him. But yeah, I'm going to go and make his life a little bit miserable for a month or so, and then go visit another buddy in Croatia, and then go to EPT Prague, and then come home for Christmas time.
Are you well suited to be on the road guy, traveling a lot?
Yeah, I can live out of a suitcase pretty easy. I don't really mind too much. I'm not someone who needs my own little personal space. If I'm gone for 6 months, traveling, bouncing about, then I'll want my bed, I'll want to chill for a month or something. But no, I really don't mind living different places, living out of a suitcase.
Poker is in a way, it doesn't have boundaries when it comes to countries that much. I mean, you make friends that are not specifically in your area where you live and so on. I know you know quite a few Swedish people. What do you think of those? Them?
Oh yeah, the Swedish people are terrible. But no, all the Swedes I know are absolutely lovely. My ex-girlfriend was a Swede. I dated her for a couple of years, and then yeah, I've become very friendly with a bunch of the tournament grinders from Sweden over the last few years.
What is the biggest difference, would you say? You started playing around 2008, 2009, something like that, right? What is the biggest difference when it comes to poker in general today compared to then?
I mean, I think it's probably pretty similar to the difference in most games or competitions then and now. It's just much more competitive. I feel over the last 10 to 15 years, our advances in technology and the way to solve games and just things has just become so much stronger, and so much more information is readily available that it's much easier to be very elite if you want to be at any game. I found this in video games that I've played for 12 years as well. Just the difference in skill level when we first started playing compared to now is just unbelievable because there's just so much more info, so much more help, so much more. Yeah, I would just say poker is just like way tougher, way more competitive now than it was when I started playing.
What video games are you a fan of? Are you still playing?
Yeah, I still play Dota 2 a lot. That's like the one video game that I play a lot of. I used to play a lot of Age of Empires as well, the old one. It's a nice little game from. I play that a lot with one of the Swedes with Darwin, with Simon Mattsson. Yeah. We played a lot of Age of Empires. And yeah, Age of Empires and Dota, that's it. Just Dota, really.
Excellent. Now, you play a lot of high stakes online as well when you stream. And together with the climbing in average strength among your competitors, has it bothered your game, or is it not tricky to stay winning when the opponents get the information from you when you play?
Yeah, so when I first started streaming, I used to be very adamant that it doesn't affect anything, that you can just continue to play the same way, nothing affects it. But I would say these days I've come to accept and think that streaming pretty does drastically affect maybe not your win rate, but your ability to focus and play your A+ game. You can definitely play a good game of poker, you can play well, you can implement good strategies, whatever, while streaming. But it is a lot harder to just juggle a bunch of things. And I think it is easy to fall into a trap of, making some of the same mistakes that you make. I think it's very hard to implement new things that you learn while playing poker, while studying poker, while you're streaming. I think it's very difficult.
Let's say you play for a while, and at this position, I know this is probably the right move, but since they know how I play, they expect me to do that. You think that way sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to alter your game style.
Sometimes, yeah. If you're playing a really high stakes tournament, obviously, and you're semi-deep or something, then you can probably assume that most people on your table will be watching. But if you're just playing a 109 tournament on a Tuesday, I wouldn't say that you should assume that everyone is watching you, So only a couple people on your table will know you're streaming. Only a couple people will will even want to watch. I don't think it's as much of a big deal that they see your hand. Because it is definitely a big deal, especially at the higher stakes in the smaller player pools. But outside of that, I don't think it's as big of a deal. But yeah, in those smaller fields where they can just see if you just bluff last hand, that's definitely a disadvantage for sure.
And then it's a special kind of skill to kind of adjust.
Yeah, and then you have to, you create your own metagame. Yeah, you literally create your own metagame, with streaming. I have literally thought about this before, and the stupidity of it, honestly, it's quite dumb.
Is it time for anything else? Because it's quite time consuming. Do you have time for things outside the computer and the traveling playing poker?
Well, once you put Dota in there, no. Well, there's no once you put the copious amounts of hours that goes into Dota in there, no, there's no real time for much else. No, I mean, I don't do an insane amount of extracurricular activities, but I mean, I do hang out with friends, of course. Go out and do things. Not an obscene hermit homebody, although I have been known to be on occasion. But no other major hobbies at the moment.
Is this something you want to continue to do for several years ahead, or many?
Poker, just continue to play? Or?
The things you do right now.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy to play poker still very much. If I didn't, I just wouldn't do it. I basically, when I stopped playing poker a lot was when I first started streaming. I just didn't really enjoy it anymore. I wasn't having as much fun. It just became more of a monotonous grind, I feel like. So I just, was moving on, trying to think of what else to do. But no, for now, I'm very content. I'm thoroughly enjoying playing poker. Loving playing live poker as well, really loving being here. I've been grinding all day, every day since I've been here pretty much. I've been in the 440 mystery bounty, 600-pound satellite, I've been out there duking it out. But yeah, I don't know, I still enjoy the game, just an outrageous amount.
And I guess your audience is also, they would never want you to stop, because that you're quite popular and you're a part of their life watching your streams. Is that something you think of a lot?
Yeah, well, I feel quite bad because I have been, I did take a break from streaming for a while. I took almost a full 2-year break, and then came back in a much smaller capacity. So I do think about that sometimes because I've been quite inconsistent over the last like year or two with my streams and that, you know, bouncing around. So like if for those people that really do enjoy watching, you know, they missed out on any kind of consistent schedule. But hopefully in the future I can get back to a more solid, stable schedule.
Right. Sounds good. It sounds like you have a good plan ahead of you, and I look forward to talk to you again. Maybe on the Swedish deal, we have a chat. A bit
yeah, sounds good. We can absolutely get that sorted.
Yeah. And good luck with everything, and we'll talk soon again.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.